All right, live stream 92, with many hundreds of live streams left to go, of course, until my retirement at, in my 90s maybe. So what have we got on the test bench today? I just got a second HD 7990 in, so I thought I would run, and I've actually got a 9900K in as well. So I thought I would run a little bit of legacy 3D quadfire, and today let's see if I can pull this up. It's currently 5:30 in the afternoon and it's 33 degrees Celsius, or for American watchers, 91 degrees Fahrenheit. So there you go. Anything over 90, you're probably mentally unstable to attempt stream, but here we go. So it's 33 degrees outside and I have 4 GPU cores, a 9900K, a streaming rig, a laptop, and a 500 watt chiller, all going in a small room. So it's going to be more like 40 degrees very soon, but we do have a little bit of ventilation available to us. So how's everyone doing? I'm just gonna put out one more notification. Yeah, I do want to install that. So what am I gonna bench today? Heaven Basic is going to be my first target to see what this chip can do. I mean, the cards, I just have them sort of in random order at the moment, but the chip is completely new. Hey Cold Wolf, how are you doing? Slightly weird timing, but better to, well, essentially I can't really, the way the weather is currently going, I can't really bench during the day anymore. So it's got to be weekend nights. Yes, I am the victim of software counterfeiting. Absolutely, that's definitely the case. I should tidy this up a little bit. So also got to get my new CPU Z out. I thought I had 1.94 on here. I hate using old CPU Zs. Yeah, so the end of the year is approaching. Yeah, that also means the end of the season. Let me grab a new GPU Z as well. So I think the latest GPU Z is 2.35. So let's get that. And yeah, should be glad that Twitch isn't smell-o-vision because I'm sweating. But the things I do for my Twitch audience, there's no limits to what I would do. Except bench for Germany. I wouldn't in Country Cup. I would never, even though I'm born there, I would never bench for Germany in Country Cup. That's something I wouldn't do. Come on, driver installer. So yeah, I'm a big fan of multi GPU configs, and that's pretty much the only reason I bought this 9900K in the first place, to be able to run true quadfire to 4-card configs. And then like the legacy GPU, I don't know what the legacy GPU support is like on X570, but on Intel LGA 1200 it's pretty spotty at this point. You have to enable the compatibility support module, but then it gets cleared whenever you clear CMOS. So imagine being in the middle of a cold session. So ideally, and anyway, there's no boards with quad SLI support. So for the foreseeable future, 9900K is the fastest chip you can use, basically, in terms of single threaded, and it will do decently in multi-threaded stuff as well. But multi-threaded, arguably, you're probably still better off with 7980XC or 10980XC, 9980XC. Why is the bar pulsating like that? Is it still moving? All right. Oh, still need to copy GPU Z. And what's really annoying is that the Apex 11 doesn't have 4 slots, because I would eventually consider getting an Apex 11 just for the better A2 layout RAM support. But yeah, in terms of 4-way, Apex 10 is as good as it's gonna get. That's just gonna feel the outside air a bit. Okay, it's definitely colder outside than inside, so it's beneficial to have the balcony open. Okay, GPU Z, CPU Z, drivers. It's all we need, really. That installer looks stalled. Probably not good to do this during a driver install, but it's taking too much time. All right, so we've got our 9900K. Kind of weird to look at. I didn't ever think, to be honest, I never really thought I would ever buy one. So it looks installed. Only showing 3 GPUs though. So for Heaven Basic, so it's a DirectX 9 bench. So LOD applies, test does nothing, tessellation. So Mat26 LFC did this as a globals run, so I won't be beating him. But I think Jan Nova is just on a 9900 or even 8700K. So if we pump up to like 5.2, 5.3, we should be able, well, we will likely be able to sort of match those clocks. Shmomo, welcome, welcome. So it says it's got 6 seconds remaining. I'm sort of don't want to fuck it up, but I don't know what else I can do. Let's see what happens. so oh, hopefully that comes back cleanly. Yes. Here yeah, I think so. The top card is the first card I bought, and it was I've sort of been that, and it's not great. I'm hoping the second card is better, to be honest. But anyway, that's on a XSPC full cover block, and the bottom card is on an EK. It's a bit awkward because the tubing here is right angle and there it's straight up. So this is the only sort of sensible way I could think of mounting them in the system without spending a shit ton of time. Let's see if we get everything cleanly detected in GPU Z. Oh yes, so we have Crossfire and we have 4 GPUs. Now let's just run a quick render test. So actually everything's showing 16x. That's really good. So now it's a bit let's just do a clean run of Heaven Basic, because it's not trivial getting this bench running. I think it needs sound and stuff to be enabled. No, you can't see. Oh, you can see the FPS actually. Sorry, yeah, top corner. No, it's doing this weird thing. Fuck. I remember this bug. So I'm running the Apex 10. If you ever want to know what rig I have in the system, just do !rig. Okay, let's check if it's the same in extreme. I'll just do extreme if it's just related to basic. Meanwhile, my 1050 watt power supply is already spinning. Usually that only happens on LN2, so I'll tell you how high the ambient temps are. So yeah, this board is pretty much, I mean, for this exact configuration, actually you could run an Apex 11, but it's not looking good, is it? But for 4 physical cards, this is the only game in town, really. And I only just reinstalled the driver, so it's not great. I don't really want to be running anything from the 3D Mark suite, to be honest. Those would all be faster in 10, most likely. Anyway, it seems to be bugged. The only other thing I can do is maybe try a different OS. But that will take a little bit of time to restore. Okay, how about we just do a cheeky 1B? Just to make sure the cards are actually okay. Ooh. Out of resources. That's weird. Let's just get rid of max mem just to see. Okay, I'm restoring another Windows 7 image. I think I might have just used too high battering reduction. Let's go 1M64. That's usually pretty safe. Yeah, there we go. So immediately, of course, I'll be curious to see what the 32B record is. So 32B with 4 cards is this guy at 1180, 9 minutes and 22. Okay, do we even have voltage? No, it's throttled. Well, not throttled, but it's not in 3D mode. I mean, let's try. Let's see what happens. Yeah, reboot, why don't you? Okay, I'm starting my restore. Have you got AC, Cold Wove, or are you suffering like me? Cold Wove is in Australia as well, so probably got the same temperature where he's at. Alright, so come on, GPU Z. So how are our temps looking? I mean, not great. Let's just go to 1100 and see what happens. This is already more benching than I did in the entire last stream, so I'm taking that as a positive. Okay, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Let's go 1200 straight away. Maybe it passes 1B. Who knows? I have my chiller set to 18. Let's try about 16. But below that, we'll probably have dew point issues. It's not failing. Nice. Okay, let's immediately kick off a 32B, but with the same batch and reduction size as this guy, 10M256. Oh, not a 1B, 32B. But good that it passes at this setting. All right, wish me luck. And I'm gonna start a stopwatch so that we know when it's just hung, which can happen. This guy Had a 29-second first batch. You face south, no AC needed. South. Should come to South Australia. Weather's great. I believe you, but you have COVID down there. Okay, so we're beating him by a couple of 100 milliseconds on the first. So that's great. Let's hope this passes. My level of benching recently has been very minimal, and in the minimal amount of benching that I've done, the level of quote unquote success has been even more minimal. So even just getting a cheap 32B multi-way gold would be delightful. So let's see how it goes. I'm always very keen to plug some holes in my benchmarking results. I'm not sure what I have as my best 32B result for 4 core, but it would presumably be HD 5970. So let's see. Yeah, 23 minutes. That looks, yeah, five times HD 58. Okay, so that's actually a 5x. So I have no 4x result. So that's pretty. I mean, there's no globals for this or anything, but there is team PowerPoints and stuff. I always like to fill in these gaps. Sort of wonder how competitive the 4x ranking even is. What's my 3x? 31 minutes. That's pretty brutal. So let's have a short browse through here. So Bilko is actually 10th. Jordan's there as well. Oof, 70 kilometer an hour wins. Stay safe. Oh, there's no globals anyway, but what? R9 290X. Yeah, I'm a big fan of these multi GPUs. I have a HD 3870 X2. I have, I think, 5 HD 4870 X2s. I've got 3 HD 5970s, which is also a dual GPU. I've got, I think, 3 or 4 HD 6990s, but one of them might be dead. And now I have 2 HD 7990s, and what I'm still missing is the R9 295X2, because that's really good for these sort of multi-way globals. You know, okay, some people ran for Vegas, but you know, for some reason, you know, you can get 4th on 32B. That's pretty special. One of these days I'm gonna build a system with risers and stuff and try and go for these like 16x things. Yeah, so 4870, 3870. 3870 I only have one, and I bought that from Bencher. I'm sort of talking to another Bencher to get a second one for a multi GPU config, but I don't know what rig you're trying to run in. Like, certainly for GPU Pi it's not as much of an issue because you can just run in an old LGA 1366 rig or something, but for 3D benching it's a bit more of an issue that multi GPU compatibility isn't so great. So trying to get my HD 5970s to post in the Apex 10 is already challenging. In the Apex 6, the Rampage 6 Apex, it's even worse. And something like the Auros Master Z490, it's even worse again. So 7990 is, and probably 6992 is sort of the cutoff for a GPU that is reasonably still expected to be able to post without too much fucking around on a current gen motherboard. But then older than that, like my HD 4870s, I've probably put easily something like 5 or 6 hours into just trying to post them on different boards. So it's quite tricky because you have these old GPUs that might be half dead from a hardware perspective anyway, and then when they don't post, you don't know if the GPU is dead, or you're having post issues where they're not getting recognized. Hey, let's do a quick comparison here. So at batch 11, I'm at 5 minutes and 7, and this guy was at 5 minutes and 10. So yeah, but Shmo, if I ever, basically what it comes down to, I need to find a board that will post HT4870X2s reliably, and then just try and post all of my cards. And I clearly don't need 5 of them. I'll just keep the 3, best ones. But yeah, time is at a premium these days. Just trying to find a COVID map for Australia, but it's harder than you think. Well, this is almost as good as a map. Well, this is what, 15th of November. This seems to be hopelessly out of date because South Australia had 14 in the last 24 hours. Oh. Does this work? Apparently not. Yeah, this seems to be slightly more in date. How amazing is Northern Territory for having only 46 total cases? I know it's a small state in terms of population, but that's still insane. So meanwhile, my other OS has restored. So I might pop that in once this run is done. This is nice though, like for a more realistic comparison, let's have a look at the single card record. Still 1100. Oh, CB Joust did 1200. What about 1B? Has there been more 1B? Still only 1300. X299 Dark, nice. So what chip are you running there? Skylog X or KB X? Just before that finishes, I'm gonna have to top up my hydration quite seriously. Be right back. I thought about getting some water, but then I remembered that I had beer in the fridge. So cheers to all of you Aussies out there for whom it's a an appropriate time in the day to have a beer. Cheers. Well, that's what I call hydration. All right, so that's our first gold of the day. Seems weird. I haven't subbed something. What makes it even harder is that the wall is currently broken on Hyperbot, so I can't even sort of scroll back to 3 weeks ago to remember what the last even halfway constructive thing was that I subbed. Come on, GBZ. Go. Okay. I think I need a new folder for that. Too much other crap on the desktop. So let's do the same thing for 1B. So what's the 1B record? 1284. Yeah, it's a bit different. Let's put it that way. Let's go 1250. We can still push voltage a bit, of course. Yep. Okay, that's not passing. I mean, why not go to 1300? What is there to lose? So that was 9.033. So, and that's gold as well. So obviously the better driver and all that is good enough. Sweet. Let's just farm some. Oh, let's get rid of that shortcut to the old CPU-Z. Let's farm some gold here. Yeah, 299 prices will drop a lot because the only reason it existed in the first place was creatives, productivity, that kind of thing, and obviously Ryzen has 2 generations of chips out now that kicks its ass in a lot of things, except, you know, AVX 512. So now let's do the same thing in GPUPy 3.3, hopefully. Come on, hardware info. You can do it. Maybe we need to go back to like 1200 or something. What's the target anyway? I still don't get the south-facing comment, by the way. Doesn't south mean you're facing the sun all day long? Oh, there's actually just no results whatsoever. So let's just get an easy 1200 run out. full detection. That should work. Yeah, that's better. Ginger, have you been brewing some beer for me in anticipation of my arrival to your great state? Okay, that's the 1B done. Let's do the 32B. Let's start our timer again. Only 32 liters. Well, that will be enough for the first weekend for me. But I don't know what everyone else is going to drink. So while that's all going on, so we have a 26-second first batch. That's all in line with what we expected. So let's have a look at the world records. I'm actually curious to see if this card still holds world records. I know what it definitely holds is 3 and 4-way 3 Mark 01. Now that's not to say the 295X2 wouldn't theoretically be a bit faster, but just the people who've decided to bench that have had this card. But I think 05 and so on have gone away. Where's our quad C? People are so bad about filling in the details. Okay, let me fill in the details. Clearly, Time Spy is 1080 Ti, because that's the latest card that does 4-way. GPU Pi is 2080 Ti. Ultra is also 1080 Ti. Extreme is 1080 Ti. Regular Firestrike is 1080 Ti. So is 11. So is Vantage. 05 by Splave, I would expect is already on 295X2. 03 would be similar. 01, I know Mike may have even run HD 5970. Let's look at that that ranking in detail. I know I still have second. I want to go back to first, but what happened there was, I think it was one of my first runs ever. Yeah, so 5970. So it was one of my first runs ever on a 9700K, and I was so happy to get global first at the time that I just stopped benching. I should have kept going and gotten a better result out, because actually, I don't know if he has backups or anything, but he just beat me by, 4,000 points or whatever. But yeah, so that's 4,000 points. Yeah, there you go. I didn't even go full pot. I did this with all single cards. Just insane to think about. Yeah. So there would be a gain to be made just from having dual GPU cards. So that means you run less latency. So at a given clock, you'll get better scores in these legacy, especially in these legacy benches. What a nightmare with all the bridges. Yeah, and I had artifacting issues and stuff. So Mike, to beat me, had to do 7.1. Alright, so you can see that switching from single cards to the dual cards, will help a lot. Also, newer drivers might even help. I think these are 2018 drivers. Yeah, it would be, well, 2019. And then, of course, I can add easily 300 megahertz to a CPU. And I think I had RAM issues as well. Yeah, I was only at 2600 RAM. Yeah, at the time I was beating Lumi. Untested 295X2, yeah, but the shipping is a killer from Europe these days. So yeah, so that's certainly a ranking that's completely unoptimized at the moment. And I can, because it's 01 and 01 is not really, you know, especially quad GPU, you're talking just fractions of a percent that you'll get out of a 295X2. So I think if the 9900K goes well on LN2, this exact combination will be really good for 01. And then similar thing works for triple card, of course, because again, I'm going up against an older generation. I wanted to check. By the way, for the sake of completeness, obviously 01 single card is completely bugged. This is done on Windows 7. It's cheated. Nobody else can tell me anything. The first legit score is very, very old. Yeah, 2017. So no one's seriously gone for this record in a long time, since the release of KBX. But dual card is quite interesting actually, because I have a lot of GTX 580, so it just so happens because XP only supports up to 2-way, and that's why 3-way and 4-way are on 7. XP only supports up to 2-way, and it just so happens of the cards that have good XP64 drivers and support 2-way, the GTX 580 is the way to go. But it's a tough ask, because Big Block is a good bencher, 7.1, and then, you know, also 28% overclock on the cards, and then he's really going all out because 01 likes FCLK, so he's going high BCLK and high FCLK, and that's tricky to do. To get 2017 C12 tight training at high BCLK like this is not easy. But we wanted to look at 03 actually. What's that? Is it a res? Let's check 03. I think it's gone 295X2 at this point, but always good to double check. Of course, the most important part is just, yeah, there we go. So let's do a quick comparison between these two scores, even though it'll be hard to do. So 7.2-ish versus 7 flat. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's more tweaked and stuff. Is he actually running single cards? Because that's what it's subbed as. Yeah, he may have just not had a second 7990, because yeah, that's sub correctly. Two single cards and a dual should be subbed as four times single. But that's probably hurting him. Let's compare quickly. So nature is 2500, and then 3050 GT1. Those are the important ones. GT1 will tell you about CPU. Nature will tell you about GPU. So here you can clearly see that the 200 less core megahertz is visible here. It's not that Splave has completely out tweaked OGS, but he's got 100 extra in nature, and the weighting of the subtest is such that nature just completely kills you. Okay, so third gold or fourth gold at this point. We're so winning. This is like Trump. We're winning so much we'll get tired of winning. I wonder if the single card stuff is in reach. Let's check. So yeah, here's our 4 results files. Now let's just have a quick look to see what single card 3.3 is like and stuff. Ooh, is that Bilko? Or is it Avalanche or someone? CV Joust. Ooh, we definitely have to beat CV Joust. He's from Warp 9. Warp 9 and Overclock.net are arch enemies, so okay, let's try. Hi White Shark, well done on the 5th gen, well, is it 5th gen 5000 series scores? Pretty good stuff. I hope you keep doing it into overclocking. It's the best. It's like nothing else. I mean, I don't want to exaggerate, but it is kind of like nothing else in life. It really is. Okay, so what we're going to do is 1225. And we need our stopwatch again. And we're expecting about a 55 second or so, 56 second loop 1, batch 1. Oh, fair point. I'll fix that. So we've got 2 HD 7990s. So I've got a XS, what is it called? XSPC full cover block on the top one. I bought that quite a while ago, and this just came in one day ago with an EK block on it. And it's gotten really dark. I think there's about to be a thunderstorm or something like that. Don't know if that got better or worse. Anyway. Time to fix the Nightbot. Yeah, so the White Shark, the original plan. Ooh, 45 seconds. Something major happened with this driver or something. I don't know what CB Joust was doing, but his result is really slow. So the original target for today was Heaven Basic, but I'm having that. I don't know, White Shark, if you bench Basic much, but I was having that weird issue where the bench keeps on going into negative FPS and restarting from the beginning, like in a loop. And in my experience, to try and fix an OS that does that is impossible. So next best thing is just another OS. So I've restored another OS, and once I'm done with the GPU Pi stuff, I'll once again try Heaven Basic, because I would like to see how these cards do in an actual 3D load. So what's the card? GPUs. So that should now be fixed. Yes. So I haven't binned the cards. I actually, the only reason I was saying this earlier, it's a bit weird with this right angled connector here. I didn't want to spend too much time taking it off and stuff. So having the right angle connector on the top then put too much strain on the outlet on the bottom card. So that's why I decided on that card as being the display card. Actually, I kind of know that it's a weak card because I've been it a little bit before. This card I'm literally running loads on for the first time today. So the chances actually are that the ideal combination would be reverse card order. I might even swap them around. I'll see how it goes. Basically, the summary of the stream so far is first OS and bench fail issues, but then all of the goals in two-way. And now I'm doing single card. So GPU Pi, both versions, and 1B and 32B. So that's 4 goals already locked in with obviously very little competition, but I haven't done that much benching. And also another story of the day is let's check in on the weather. Earlier I checked and it was 33 degrees. Now it's 29 degrees. But I do have 500 watt chiller, 2 dual GPU cards. What's the TDP on these things? Probably north of 250 watts. Ooh, it fails. The chiller is literally not able to chill as low as it needs to, so I'll actually plug in the second chiller. It's showing 25 degrees at the moment. Let's see. White Shark, there's a 9900K in here as well, which is new. So yeah, so 9900K, 2 cards, 1,000 watt worth of chillers, 3 cameras, a light, a laptop, and a streaming rig, all running in a small room, with the ambient temperature already being 30 degrees. So to combat that, I have a beer here. Let's maybe just try and give it a little bit of extra core voltage. Oh, don't I have to? Yeah, I have to disable. Well, no, the bench. I was trying to think. Sometimes, you know, people are funny about more GPUs showing than you actually use. So I want to avoid that. But the bench will show that there was only a workload on 2 of the cores. So actually, I don't want to give anybody any ideas. But the way to cheat in this bench would actually be to put 2 cards in the system and then only load the first core in each card, because then you basically get twice the you basically don't concentrate the heat on 1 card, yet you can still claim it's 1 card with 2 cores on it, because there's no way of knowing which ones were selected. And you obviously get more block capacity than you would get it with a normal HT7990. And I think that then technically would have to be subbed as 2 HT7970s, but how is anyone ever gonna know? You know, with me, because I'm ticking the first 2 cards, or the first 2 cores, but you wouldn't know with anyone else. So the actual claimed TDP is, where is it? 375 watts. So yeah, we basically have 1,000 watt of system, 1,000 watt of chillers, and then probably like another 500 watts of streaming gear all heating up. Ooh, there's actually a nice breeze coming through though, so that's nice. Okay, we got to like the 4th batch last time. So yeah, so I got the 9900K for multi-way configs. There's some good points to be had. Like even if you look at things like older cards like the 5870, if you look at the 4-way section, if it's ever going to load, because it's around for so long, I mean, these are cold results. Actually, G-Trod, that's one I need to rebench because I think 1070. So this is 3 macro 3. 1070 is I think if you push a lot of volts, you can probably do that, especially with matrix cards, not matrix cards, lightning cards. So I definitely need to rebench that. Even things like Vantage, this is a juicy one. So this is a really old Vantage result, and it's done on like something ridiculous like, yes, 6950X, and that will tell you how CPU bound Vantage is as a 3 bench, because damn it, at time of release Cookie ran it on LN2, but that was beaten by just Broadwell all ambient, because Cookie was probably on like a 3930K or something, even like not necessarily even worse, but 980X for 3D is not, that's not great. I wish there was a bench pick though. Right. Yeah, actual summer will be interesting. So we have a batch 5, which we didn't get to last time. Our temps are still 23 degrees, even though I'm setting 18. But that's the way it is. So front page results. Oh wow, keep rebenched. 6.1 gigahertz for 12 core. That's nice. Still behind safe disk. What's making the difference here? So let's do a compare and contrast. We always have to take care to look at benchmate. So we've got a benchmate valid, lower encore, only 1,000 encore. So I would assume that safe disk was able to do a higher encore. Yeah, so 1,200 encore. So much depends on that, because then you can use the 2:1 strap and get 4,800 RAM, whereas here you're stuck at 2,000 RAM. What's the difference though? So what about core? Core is the same. Isn't it always, I mean, not always, but like, isn't it usually just on core frequency? Oh, 16 gig sticks, 12 gig, 8 gig sticks. I mean, I know it's not, but I thought that in general it would be. if you, I mean, if you want to hide Encore, you can, but I'm just saying that you can show it. It can be shown if you want it to be shown. What's going on with 1080 Ti? Always nice to see that on LN2. I should do more of that. So we're on batch 9. Of course, this is the big standout of today. 100 and... I mean, it's not gigantic, you know. Like, people say this is a massive Vantage CPU score, which it is, 146K. But then if you think about the fact that, so let's go into my Vantage notes. Like, a long time ago, like, how old is this sub? Is this sub even still there? This is what I had as a reference. Yeah, Splay from 2018 at 5.9 did 138K. So if you, okay, there's a 2-core advantage, but you know, considering it's, you know, 16 versus 18 core, that doesn't really make that much of a difference. And you've got better RAM potentially. It's basically almost sort of clock for clock the same. And then Vermeer hurts your GTs. Yeah, in that case, maybe it should become mandatory to show FCLK. I mean, I know it's annoying on launch when people have to sub like 15 things really quickly, but I think that the mandatory fields could be beefed up a bit. Now, policing them is a different matter, but I think that the kind of things that could be made mandatory and that would actually be really beneficial to the community as a whole would be OS used, because that also is like has a self-moderating effect. Because if someone's trying to sub SuperPi 32M non-benchmade Windows 10, the engine could just tell the person this is illegal, you know, instead of having to have the sub be pulled manually. So OS is useful. Things like Encore, because I have no problem. I oftentimes even put in my Encore, certainly for AM3 subs. I put it in, so that could be made mandatory. I know there's certain architectures like Sandy that don't have such a thing, and Ivy that don't have Encore, but in that case, maybe there should just be a tick box saying, you know, same as Core or something. I don't know. Or maybe even have the bot be a little bit more intelligent and actually just gray out that field when it's Sandy or Ivy. Like, even something like an Intel 16 core isn't a million miles away, you know? And then here we have an SMT off ambient sub, and I wonder if Vermeer would be able to match that, you know? So anyway, interesting times that AMD is competitive for 3D. How's our run going? Batch 13. Let's just double check that we're still #winning. So we're I'm comparing 3.2 versus 3.3. That's what's wrong. But it shouldn't be a million miles faster. Yeah, we're only a slight bit faster. So at batch 14, we're on 10 minutes. Fuck, my eyesight is fucked. 10 minutes 48, and he's on 11 minutes. So that's good. Let's line up our next target, which is just 1B. That should be easy. What about yeah, I think I'll try to go for the quadfecta, octfecta, all 8 GPU power results. But version 3.21b could be a little tricky. 1300. Then again, CB Joust was able to do 1260. Driver age will be crucial. So this is also an old version, so it probably kind of balances out a bit. Maybe this card can do 1300 on an old driver and an old GPU Pi version. How old is this sub? Holy shit. 2018. But then, yeah, OpenCL 2.1. Let's see. We'll leave it to last. Fuck, it's hot. So what's everyone else doing in benching? So White Shark, I guess you're back in lockdown. Have you squirreled away some hardware in LN2 to keep you busy during this time? I mean, it's Germany, right? It's going to be dark at 3 p.m. anyway, so this time of year, so you're not really missing out on much. Alright. I have my second OS ready to go as soon as these GPU Pi runs are done. Nice. So actually I can already tick some things off here. GPU Pi beaten, 1B also beaten. Single card, I haven't done anything remarkable yet. So we haven't looked at this in a while. Let's have a look at the GPU stock, which is ever evolving. So red means presumed dead, yellow is on the way out, and then we have a few different levels of untested and stuff. So yeah, I really need to do this legacy stuff again, but as you can see I have quite some X series stuff, and then 2900 XT. They are interesting cards. The fix, something about, I think the summary is in certain scenarios you set a certain clock and it will score worse than a lower clock because the system will just somehow decide to have a lower effective clock, and the way you figure out that the effective clock is lower than the real clock is by looking at hardware info. Alright, so that run is done. Sure, White Shark can tell you more of the details. The depreciation on these 9900Ks has been just staggering. I remember when they used to be 1,000 Australian dollars, and now I bought one for 500, and that's not even a particularly good. Oh no, don't fuck with detection. It's not even a particularly good deal. I'm sure people have gotten, you know, Please. Such a long run. That's a disappointment. Okay. Let's try a different instance of CPU Z. Same crap. Okay, 1.89 to the rescue. Please don't tell anyone. Should be still legal anyway. Okay, let's literally just run the same thing, 1B. So that's a 17-second. 17.87, 17.5. Okay, that's good enough. Oh, I forgot that CPU Z won't run. I might reboot after this screenshot. This makes me nervous. All right, managed to break the 20 degrees on the chillers at 30 degrees, well, probably about 35 degrees ambient. All right, let's recap what we need for this long run. I think 1200 flat would do it, but let's do 1225 again. Just in case power limit does something. And it is regular GPU Pi on a single card, 32B. And I'm starting my stopwatch again. Come on, batch one. I want to be able to click away to something else. So we would expect about a 55 second batch one or something. 55, 56 second. This is fun. And the crazy thing is, I somehow in all of these 92 um, streams have never streamed HD 7000 series. So here we go, 92. Am I not signed in or something? All right, minute and 3. Okay, so there's some sort of issue going on. Why are we slower? Why are we much slower than this idiot? 10M256. Okay, let's just make sure it's not the reduction size and go with 128, just like the other guy. Let's double check that our, yeah, legacy is the other option. Yeah, our clock is set. So back here, I really like the 2900 XTs. I really do. I want to go back to them. You do need a bit of patience to bench them, because it's sort of the beginnings of in-OS overclocking for GPUs. Well, not the beginning, but it's very janky for some reason. So it's sort of hard to know sometimes if you're really clocking the cards or not, because you can hit a button and it looks like it's applied, but it's not. So yeah, 3000 series. These are hard to get posting in modern boards, so I haven't really spent much time on them. This card is actually a really good card, but all I've checked on it is display out, so still slow. Okay, time to give Legacy a try. So 4000 series is where it gets a bit insane. That's a lot of cards. I think I even have a third HT 4890 now. I think this is actually sold. I should probably put in a third one here. Yeah, I need to do more of this, clearly. 5,000 series I've done a lot of benching of, but not the lower bins. I like my lightnings. Sock is a bit gimped on this generation. You need to do hard mods for everything. 6,000 is anemic. I need I have the 6950, but I want some 6970s, because that was the top end single GPU card. Ooh, I actually only have 2. I should probably invest in some more. And here we are with this 7000 series. A lot of 7970s and these 2 cards. No, it's not getting faster. Is it throttling in some way? That's a big difference. What I can actually do is I can try and run it on the secondary card. Let's try that. Otherwise, I just give up on it and go try and get Heaven Basic running. So famously, there was no HT8000 series for consumers. It was OEM only. And then I've got a lot of 298Xs. I think I have a problem. I own too many ATI cards. Yeah, NVIDIA I know less than about. Obviously, there's the ancient stuff. Even 8000, that's ancient. 9000. 200 series is where you're starting to get somewhat modern. And I have a lot of those cards. Fuck. A lot of 275s. As my stream is disintegrating. Wow, that run is actually even slower. What I'm just gonna briefly try is pulling a card quickly, just in case GPU Pi has jumbled up the cards and somehow I'm running the bench across different cards. But it's unlikely, I have to say. Fuck it, I'll just go on to the next OS. I'm not too married to these GPU Pi runs. So White Shark, are you actually going to do 3D benching as well on Ryzen now? When did you email Gainward? This card is like 15 years old or something. So first step obviously will be to run DDU and install the driver, and then just straight away we'll have to check how Heaven Basic goes. It's going through its hardware detection dance now. That's really nice of Gainward, no matter what way you slice and dice it. And conveniently we have DDU on the desktop. How nice is that? Yeah, sometimes vendors can be really good at that kind of thing. Wow. That's impressive. Kudos to Gainward. Release date June 2008. Okay, while the system restarts, I'm just gonna quickly grab some more hydration. What did I miss? Alright, the stream seems pretty unstable. Right, let's install that driver. A missing ferrite bead. I don't even know what that is. Well done to Gainword for giving a shit, basically.